welcome to Retro Rewind. I'll be your host on this journey. Kind of looks like the Kaioken from Dragon Ball. I won't bore you with the entire intro, although I do think it's pretty cool. Alright, so we have pretty much every game for almost every system within the constraints of the video processor. This is Super Nintendo right here. I did want to highlight this, which is why it was already highlighted. There's two different versions of it. But the Death and Return of Superman. I'm actually going to play it for a second. Pretty expensive game if you want to buy the cartridge, even on eBay right now. So I'm going to get into it for a minute. It's also one of my personal favorite games on the Super Nintendo. Yes, I guess I'm showing my age, but definitely one of my favorite games back then. I'll show you why. Also to show that everything runs so smooth. This is one of the first games that allowed you to throw your opponents, like grab into the backdrop, which I always thought was really cool. I was always obsessed with doing it too. But now, the great things about these advanced emulators, they actually run better than the originals. More powerful hardware than what a Super Nintendo had at the time. And the modern controllers, by the way, I'm using a PS5 controller. I'm used to an Xbox controller, so what I noticed is I do push the wrong button sometimes. Maybe more than sometimes. Anyway, just wanted to show you the smoothness. Everything emulates perfectly. Let's go ahead and back out of here. We're still in Super Nintendo right now. There's a lot of cool stuff. Let's stop right here for a second. One of the best games on Super Nintendo. Every Contra game was great, but this one really kind of stole the show. Love this game. I beat this game probably 1,000,000 times back in the day. Ooh, I did hit the wrong button. There it is again. So this game is just timeless. All the Contra ones are. Super C, everything. Even Contra Corps for Sega Genesis, which we do have on here as well. This game's a good game to show you how responsive the controls are. Because they had to be. This game really makes you... I got killed. But it's nothing to do with the controller. That was all me. The responsiveness of the controllers, I think, give you an edge over how it was back in the 90s. Every game on here has been tested to emulate perfectly, by the way. Nothing is gonna not work. As some of these things out here that you see where things just don't work. We don't have that. There's... I'm not going to obviously go through every game. We don't have the time for that, and I'm sure you nor I have the patience. I remember this game. I think the Sega Genesis version was a little better. We got X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. This was a good game. Oh yeah, I remember that game too, Wolverine. Oh man. So, I'm looking for something in particular. Oh wow, Time Cop. That's not what I was looking for. The Sega CD version, I think, of this game is the best. This game is just terrible. Let's see. It's coming up. Sorry, there's just so much to flip through, which is... Oh, I love this game. Oh, I want to play it right now, but we got a lot to get through. Here's also another fantastic game. Super Metroid. Spent so much of my youth on that. Love that game. Super Bomberman. Star Fox. This is a very rare game. Not what I was searching for, but also a rare game. There we go. RoboCop versus Terminator for Super Nintendo. Very rare game. I won't get into it right now. I just wanted to show you that we have it. Emulate ports perfectly. We also have Doom for Super Nintendo, which I don't think was the best port. To be honest, the Super Nintendo version of Doom was not my favorite port. The regular Nintendo we have obviously every game for. Every game for the PSP. PlayStation 4 we don't have every single game because the hardware would not allow it. We would have had to charge a lot more for the system and a lot more for everything just to upgrade the hardware. We got the games that would emulate perfect without skips, jitters, and jumps. We have most of the PS3 library, but same thing. There were a couple games that we just couldn't. PS2 we have everything, both the European, Japanese, and American. Obviously PS1, same thing. Sonic Collection. We're just going to keep it going. Every single console ever made is on here. Going all the way back. ColecoVision, you name it, you'll see them. Some of these systems I'm not even familiar with. Sega System 16, 18, 24. Some of you out there might know them. Wasn't my generation, I don't know. Sega Saturn, we got every game. Wasn't my favorite console. I don't think it had too many notable games, except maybe Resident Evil 4, which the Wii version was better anyway. We do have the Japanese version of like Sega Mega Drive and Genesis and all that. Speaking of Genesis, here's like some hacked games, which is kind of cool. You can get into some of these where you see stuff like this, where some of them are fan-made, some of them otherwise, but pretty cool. That's the Genesis Mini, where obviously has the original Sonic and all that, but here's the Sega Genesis itself. Now, there's a lot of stuff here. Mortal Kombat Trilogy was awesome because it had all the characters in it. Gotta be honest, the sounds in this one are annoying. Terminator games, of course. Didn't love this version of Superman, but it's here. Strider. Streets of Rage was a good series. We'll get into some of that later when we get to the Switch with Streets of Rage 4, which was fantastic. Now, these games, the Splatterhouse, they were getting some heat back then for being kind of grotesque. I thought they were cool. Spider-Man and the X-Men, which is a rare one. Maximum Carnage for Genesis as well as Super Nintendo. To be honest, I don't remember which one I liked better. I was more I was a lot more of a Super Nintendo guy, so original Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic Spinball, 3D Blast, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles 2, everything. So, Shaq Fu, one of the worst games on the console. We're gonna scroll back here. There's a couple things that I wanted to show. Revenge of Shinobi was a great game. Road Rash 3 was okay. RoboCop vs. Terminator here had all the blood and stuff in it too. I think the graphics on Super Nintendo were better, but this had faster gameplay, you know, blast processing and all, as they used to say back then, which was a crock of shit. But, where's another one? This was one of my favorite games here as well, Ranger X. The sprites in this game for the day were just awesome. There is something kind of funny. Wow, those noises are quite annoying. This game right here.
Loading.
I used to play this game when I was younger. Kind of didn't age well, let's just say, but yeah. Michael Jackson gets out of a flying DeLorean. So, I hit the wrong button because I'm not used to this controller. However, this is a game about Michael Jackson saving children from the closet. As I said, didn't age well. Let's keep going through the Sega. I got Dreamcast, every game made for that. I wasn't a huge fan of it either, but now this, I'm a nerd, I know. I was a huge fan of this, especially Demolition Man, which I think was probably the best rendition of this game on Sega Genesis. But that being said, oh, sorry, I went the wrong way. There is something I want to show you guys which is probably, Road Rash is pretty good on here. Better on 3DO, but still pretty good on Sega CD. Right here. In the original games of Sonic, this was the best Sonic game ever made. I don't know about you nostalgic people out there, but listen, it's coming. There it is. You guys remember that? Some of you might be too young. And look, Sega CD used to let us play the music from it because it was one of the first CD-based consoles. Console, kind of. Use that term loosely. It was an add-on to the Genesis. But arguably, this is the best Sonic game of the originals. Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic CD, Sonic Spinball. Now, if you don't push anything at this screen, the home screen, press start screen, you'll get to see at the time, which was one of the coolest graphics. And here it comes. Yes, it's a little pixelated. Again, this is 1993, I believe. They tried to do full motion video on this console. As you'll see later, I'll play a couple other ones that it didn't really do that very well, pixelate, but imagine seeing this when Sega Genesis, which could not do this, was around. Okay, so you guys get the point. Yeah, it is 1993. Okay, I wasn't 100% positive. This game was just really cool back then. Like, they let Sonic do this whole figure 8 spin up, which the other consoles didn't allow. A little bit of a 3D. You know, Sega CD kind of wanted to go out and be different. So everyone was, you know, not everyone, but you know, Genesis was doing the Sonic. And no, I don't remember this game. I'm just literally winging it. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you get the point. The Terminator for Sega CD was pretty good. Probably the best original Terminator. And this game right here is one I wanted to show you.
Loading.
This one it's a full motion game, full motion video, and I keep pushing the wrong button. I'm doing the CD thing. Again, you're going to see the grainy pixelation that I was referring to before, but this game was so much fun. See that? But in 1993, we took it. Remember, we're still watching VHSs. So, 1994 for this one. Okay, so this is about a year later.
Altitude is Angels 1.
Still one of my favorite games on this console. And as you can see, the emulation...
Shadow 3, over.
I don't want to talk over and ruin the game for you or anything, but...
Shadow 5, are you reading?
I just pushed the wrong button and shot a missile instead of answering the comm.
I'm on your way, over.
Answer the radio when your wingman calls.
I tried to answer the radio. I'm not used to this controller.
First waypoint.
So yeah, this game was one of my favorites. This is pretty cool back then. I'm just screwing around to show you the buttons and what have you.
Shadow 3, this is Shadow 5, over.
Go ahead, Dakota.
Ratchet, abort mission. Repeat, abort mission. There's something wrong with the kid.
The kid being me, because I'm not listening to anything.
I don't think you're ready to be up here again.
I don't think you're ready to have full motion video, because it's very pixelated. So, I was actually very good at this game back in the day. But 3DO, I think, succeeded a little more in having the full motion video.
Angels 1.
Although Sega CD had better games, I think 3DO kind of nailed the full motion video better.
Shadow 3, over.
I kind of just want to show you something here.
Go ahead, Ratchet.
I'm on your way, over.
I'm not trying to take up too much of everybody's time, but I want to show everybody how the emulation, even on fairly hard games to emulate, work perfectly. we worked really hard to make that a thing, because there's a lot out there that just don't. They sell them and don't care.
Channel 5, I'm singing inbound unidentified.
You won't find a glitch in these.
We're within radar missile range. Fire what you got locked.
Not a sputter.
Visual on that. Copy.
And again, I think the controllers are more sophisticated these days than they were back then. I'm going to get out of this, but I think that makes it a little bit easier as well. Now, that being said, we do got the 32X. I'm not going to go through the games on it, but we do have all the games for the 32X. Some are put into categories like Resident Evil and racing games and Pokemon and so on and so on and so on. So you're going to have some of that. Now, again, speaking of the 3DO, I'm going to get into that for a second. Road Rash, this is the best rendition of a 3DO of, Road Rash is on the 3DO. I apologize. Really good game, really fun game. A couple fighting games that were just terrible. They call them kind of Mortal Kombat clones. I don't even know if you can call them that because they're not really so Mortal Kombat-y. Everybody loved this game. It was like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game. I personally didn't, but Slayer is here. It's on there. Space Hulk was kind of fun. I of course have my favorites on here. Way of the Warrior was cool because the gameplay was terrible, but it had some cool fatalities. Like a death metal soundtrack that, even though I don't like death metal, was very fitting of the game Wolfenstein 3D, which got a lot of heat because, well, you're shooting Nazis and, eventually Hitler. So that got a little bit of heat. Alone in the Dark 2, not for children, per se. Captain Quasar was going to be their mascot. It ended up being Gex, which I think is a better mascot anyway. Demolition Man. This had full motion video. I'll play it real quick just to show you. Much less pixelation.
File.
I mean, you can't say it's Blu-ray quality, but much less. Little Road Rash thing in the left-hand corner while it's loading. But yeah, Doom on the 3DO was a very terrible port. We have it, but man,
Extraction complete.
it was a terrible port. I'm not going to get into this game too much, but I mean, this is so good a full motion video for the time. They actually had to have Sylvester Stallone film some of the scenes in this game. Not the opening scene that I'm going to show you, and I'm certainly not going to play through long enough to get to it, but he actually had to... There's also a blood code for this game. I forgot it, but there is one. Much better than Sega CD. Like I said, not Blu-ray quality by any stretch of the imagination. Straight from the movie. Great movie, by the way. Very underrated. A little bit of grain and pixelation. Not like Sega CD. Send a maniac to catch him. you get the point. They also have like fighting scenes and stuff like that. And this is Doom right here. Very delayed. Not the best port of Doom by any stretch. There's Gex. That's the mascot for this console that later got ported to other consoles when the 3DO kind of went out of business. Rightfully so. Hell, which is a cyberpunk game. But anyway, we're gonna get out of the 3DO. Wii, we got pretty much every game for the Wii that would actually port over with a standard controller. Obviously, we know the Wii controllers were, and that goes for Wii U and WiiWare as well. We all know the controllers were a little, you know, with the movement and the what have you. So, Switch. We do not have every Switch game here, and for obvious reasons, Switch is a new age console, which you would have had to have serious hardware. This game was the hardest game to emulate on here, Batman. I had to work on it personally for a while. Finally got it. This is the game right here that it's weird, and I'm going to play it. If you're a fan of Streets of Rage from the past, listen, this... I actually got addicted to playing this game while coding this console. Great game. If you're a fan of the previous Streets of Rage, this is just wonderful. I don't know how else to put it. The controllers are so responsive. The sprites in this game are gorgeous. I mean, like I said, it's trying to be the old with just new age console graphics, and I think they nailed it. This console probably would have been released sooner if this game didn't exist, because I got stuck on it. I just love it. I'm not going to play too long, but great game. Just fantastic. Yeah, I really love this game. I don't even know why. I mean, I was always a fan of the Streets of Rage. I'll show you a little special move here, but I like the beat 'em ups anyway. But yeah, this one just, I mean, dare I say, it's almost perfect. Anyway, let me, the newer consoles, you actually have to go to exit rather than pushing back. Tried to kind of fix that. Didn't work. But yeah, we got pretty much everything here on the Switch. Now, if we go back to, I saw Resident Evil, so I'm just going to bring this up. Resident Evil on the Wii, which we do have, I feel is one of the best Resident Evil games ever. The Wii version in particular. So we have that. Now, let's move on a little bit. We're still in Nintendo, obviously. We got a Nintendo Arcade where some of the other things were in there. So here's, we also have a Nintendo 64 DD before I get to Nintendo. They didn't drop that many games for it. There's a few on here, mostly in Japan. These are in Japanese. So there's that. Then you got the Nintendo 64 in Europe, which did have some games that we didn't hear in the United States, so they are here as well. Now, getting into Nintendo 64, I do want to show you a couple of these games because Nintendo 64 is very hard to emulate. And we had a hard time, but we got it. I don't know if you guys remember this. This was like the first-person shooter where you could play against your friends. The 007 GoldenEye. You get the golden gun. Everybody hated you because one shot, one kill. Obviously, you got the WWE games. I loved this game right here. WCW NWO Revenge. One of the best wrestling games out. Ever, maybe. Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, 1, 2, 3, Toy Story. Like I said, every single game works perfectly on here, on Nintendo 64, which was not easy to do. I will tell you that. I understand why some of these people leave them undone and just say, the hell with it, it is what it is, the port is what the port is, because it's a pain about as bad as you think it might be. But yeah, they all work perfect. Not, you know, I didn't like this version of Road Rash. Ready to Rumble. Quake. Quake was kind of cool. As you could tell, I like first-person shooters, which is why I keep gravitating towards them. NFL Blitz was cool on Super Nintendo. I'm sorry, Nintendo 64, I apologize. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, the controls, well, it'll be better now because we have different controllers, but the Nintendo 64 controllers were not set up for Mortal Kombat at all. Zelda Ocarina of Time was one of the best games ever made, and if you call Nintendo to this day and they put you on hold, guess what theme song? Ocarina of Time. So, and then obviously here's Gex, who again did make it to other consoles after the 3DO, long after the 3DO. So that's Nintendo 64. Now moving on a little bit, let's see. Oh yeah, Need for Speed games, of course, all of them. We do have PC games as well, Doom Eternal, things like that. There's a Mortal Kombat channel. I just want to stop in and, I'm sorry, so Nintendo again, Xbox 360. We got Gears of War Judgment, Gears of War 3, Gears of War 2. Gears of War 1 was on the original Xbox, not the 360. Halo, that edition. And then you got Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo Reach. Halo 2's not on here because Halo 1 and Halo 2, so you gotta understand, this is Halo, this is the anniversary edition. The regular edition was on, and this was re-released on here. The regular edition was on regular Xbox 1 and 2 Halo, so that's what's on there.
Good luck, Master Chief.
So.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
In case you were wondering.
Don't get any funny ideas. I don't keep it loaded, so you'll have to find ammo as you
Playing with the volume there a little bit on accident, but okay.
Those Marines could use some help, Chief. Do what you do best.
Do what you do best, Chief. Now, getting into PlayStation 4, we do not have every game for PlayStation 4. It just wouldn't emulate that way, and we would have needed a lot more expensive hardware, and unfortunately we didn't want to raise the price. So we have most games for PS3. There were a couple that could not be done, but we do have most. PS2 Europe, PS2 regular, PlayStation, all of those. We do have a lot of hacked games on here as well that you could kind of just have fun with, which is kind of cool. Original Xbox, all the games on there. One of my favorite games for this, other than Halo 1 and 2, of course, are, it's not that one, this one, Hulk Ultimate Destruction. You can pretty much break every single thing in the game. Pretty cool. So, again, we do have the PC games as well, a lot of them, light gun games, but there's something I wanted to show you. Search. So here we can search for, well, anything we want. I'm going to search for Doom, so I can show you guys Doom Eternal. Huh?
Excuse me, there is a message for you.
Eternal, let's see. All right, so we have it for PS4. It's also in here for PC. So there's Doom Eternal. So you see the searches. When I searched for Doom, it didn't come up with anything, but it does that sometimes, and then it will find it the next time. So that's kind of strange as well. But so there's your search feature. So yeah, there you have it. I don't want to exit, but House of the Dead, hacked games, fan-made games, all the Grand Theft Autos, GoldenEye, everything you can think of is here. And if there's anything that's not, we can add. I love Doom. I'm just a Doom guy. Amiga, Commodore 64 Mini, Commodore 64, going back to ColecoVision. Some of you might be too young to even remember these consoles. But yeah, there you have it. The Retro Rewind console, available in a few different renditions. PC version, console version, just to get it for everybody. Bootleg games. Probably going to get in trouble for using that term, but we'll see. Battletoads, Batman games. I like the Batman Arkham games personally. The Atari games, consoles, Jaguar and Jaguar CD kind of stunk. But yeah, there you have it. Retro Rewind. Thanks for watching.